Among the many challenges facing town planners and urban designers as we grapple with the impacts of climate change, higher density living, waste and resource management, to name a few, new research has highlighted why we should never forget the human-centric elements of what makes a great city, and even taking it a step beyond from livable to loveable. To talk about embracing the concept of play in urban precincts, I'm joined now by Dr. Greg MEWS, lecturer in urban design and town planning at the University of the Sunshine Coast. Welcome, Dr. MEWS. Great to have you with us today. Tell us how and why play should be incorporated into city shaping.
Well, thanks for having me. Good question. Yeah, play essentially, I mean, first you think like, oh, play is just something for children, right? But actually, arguably, it's something which we all do. Perhaps we don't call it play. So therefore, I would probably refer, you have an adventure in an urban environment. And cities do provide a whole range of different experiences, right? There can be these dark, dingy corners, or you have these fantastic public open spaces and parks where we can all relax and encounter each other. So, but we know actually design in its broadest sense informs actually the way how we behave and encounter each other in cities. And I argue actually in order to make cities not just livable, functional, we also need to pay attention to what makes life worth living. And the playful dimension of such, which we all do as part of our everyday lives, is a big important part of that. And unfortunately, there is very little empirical evidence in the community that supports decision makers in order to take it into consideration.
Greg, you have written a book, and the title of the book is Transforming Public Space Through Play. What are the main takeaways you would like to see implemented?
Oh, it's a window to understand for urban designers and practitioners in general to see the potential of what a public space in the city really holds and is there for. If we want to make them, what I argue, more lovable, we really need to pay attention to understand and appreciate what that kind of rich experience, that joyful experience of each of us adds to a quality public space really has to offer. And by seeing that and applying that framework I developed, you will make better informed decision to take these experiences into consideration and therefore design environments which really brings us closer together and celebrates us, that unique urban way of life in a post-COVID environment.
Mm-hmm. Now, you've actually done a case study right here in the city of Brisbane, where we're based, in Logan. Tell us, what did you find?
Oh, that's an exciting project. Okay, this focuses more on children playing in the streets, and delightful part of a bigger cohort of researchers working on that. So what we actually created play streets here with our partners here at Logan together that transformed the street environments to allow active street play for children. Or what we did actually close down the street for a few hours and empowered the local residents to really take ownership and create conditions in which play can occur. And you will see, once you create conditions where that naturally can happen, how you can magically transform a space over a period of time. So that there were valuable lessons to be learned from that, which we can take into consideration when we design for play in that sense, or for adventures in the future moving on here. And if we want to create more livable environment, yes, we do need, for example, in terms of microclimates, more trees and so on. But we also should pay attention to these more perhaps ambiguous forms of being in the space and what children with their creative powers actually unleash, and take that into consideration and really plan for that as well.
Is this something that actually needs to be regulated?
Well, often actually, funny that you say that, in a regulatory environment, we've been quite accomplished in regulating play out. And that's what we're trying to do now in collaboration with the Australian Institute of Play, to reverse that trend and to really say, guys, if you want to have healthy children and therefore healthy in the future generations of people living in these environments, we really have to pay more attention and put our energy into that, which is often sidelined because it's been often in an adult-led environment washed away. Play is something small and minor. But in fact, research shows, neurological research as well as health research, how fundamentally important play is to a healthy childhood and therefore to healthy communities.
What sort of response are you getting from the urban designers you're talking to, the town planners, the architects?
Well, the thing is, you have always your allies and your opponents. We have often, within the research community, I often preach to the converted. So I think rather actually what we would like to see is actually to have that mainstreamed and have this conversation with everybody as part of public forums to see how they can cooperate and imbue their lives and reclaim that playful, adventurous elements of their life as part of their daily practice. From a policy regulator perspective, it's really not an easy one to grasp, because what we're arguably dealing with in the Australian context is a risk-averse society. And to shift that paradigm and to let risk and adventure a bit more being part of our everyday existence is a hard battle, particularly with insurer.
Greg, we really do appreciate your time today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Dr. Greg MEWS with us there from the University of the Sunshine Coast.